Listening. Directions in listening section, you will hear monologues, dialogues, and academic talks.
The last laugh.
Dee and her brother Thomas like to play tricks on each other on April Fool's Day. They like to see who can get the last laugh. Last year, Dee planned a special joke. She got up early on April Fool's Day. She tiptoed into her brother's room. Thomas was sleeping soundly. Dee picked up Thomas's clock. She changed the time from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. She set the clock back down on the table very quietly. Then she went back to the door and turned on the light. "Time to get up," she shouted. "You're late for school." Thomas sat up in bed. He didn't look surprised. In fact, he was smiling. Then he laughed. "I knew you would change the clock," Thomas said. "I changed yours first. Did you know it's only 6 o'clock?" Thomas went back to sleep. He had the last laugh. Number 1. Which of these things happened last?
Letter A. Thomas sat up in bed. Letter B. Dee tiptoed into Thomas's room. Letter C. Dee changed the time on Thomas's clock.
The correct answer is letter A. Thomas sat up in bed.
Number 2. What happened before Dee turned on Thomas's light?
Letter A. Thomas laughed. Letter B. Dee changed the time on Thomas's clock. Letter C. Dee shouted, "Time to get up."
The correct answer is letter B. Dee changed the time on Thomas's clock.
Number 3. Who had the last laugh?
The correct answer is letter C. Thomas had the last laugh.
Letter A. Dee and Thomas. Letter B. Dee. Letter C. Thomas.
Reading. In this section, you will be required to read 2 passages on varying topics. After each passage, you will answer questions to test your ability to understand vocabulary, writer's point of view, factual information, and sentence structures.
Reading number 1. Knowing oneself. Source: www.spiritualresearchfoundation.org.
Number 1. What is the best way to describe self-awareness?
Letter A. It is a feeling of having butterflies in your stomach when you realize you forgot to study for an important matter. Letter B. It is when you seriously want to overcome your personality defects. Letter C. It is when one understands where one lacks, he focuses his efforts on what to improve.
The correct answer is letter B. It is when you seriously want to overcome your personality defects.
Number 2. How does one practice introspection?
Letter A. When a person becomes aware of some aspects of himself, but only in a private way. Letter B. When one gains an understanding of and insight of his strengths and weaknesses. Letter C. When a person becomes at the center of attention and is aware of it.
The correct answer is letter B. when one gains an understanding of an insight of his strengths and weaknesses.
Number 3. Why does public awareness not good all the time?
Letter A. It limits the display our best behavior because of norm, which may not be reflective of our true personality. Letter B. Some people are privy to some aspects of inner self and would not let the guard down in front of others. Letter C. We are not in a better position to overcome our personality defects and understand where our strengths lie when in public.
The correct answer is letter A. It limits the display our best behavior because of norm, which may not be reflective of our true personality. Reading number 2. Let's talk about moods. Source: www.universetoday.com.
Number 1. Why is a moon called a natural satellite?
Letter A. Because they are geologically active. Letter B. Because it is a celestial body that makes an orbit around a planet. Letter C. Because they are so bright in outer space.
The correct answer is letter B. Because it is a celestial body that makes an orbit around a planet.
Number 2. What makes the definition of a moon debatable?
Letter A. Size is an issue. Letter B. There are varied characteristics to consider. Letter C. The shape varies.
The correct answer is letter B. There are varied characteristics to consider.
Number 3. What interesting fact was stated in the literature about a moon?
Letter A. It is a 10-inch rock that's orbiting a planet. Letter B. People are not aware of the fact that a few of them are geologically active. Letter C. That the term moon is used exclusively to make a reference to a planet's natural satellite.
The correct answer is letter B. People are not aware of the fact that a few of them are geologically active. Vocab. In this section you will learn vocabulary words with its meanings, and examples. In the test, there are 5 questions and you have 10 seconds to answer each question.
Defect. A noun. A shortcoming, imperfection, or lack.
For example, the baby was born with genetic defects. For example, books are an invaluable source of information.
Invaluable. An adjective. Extremely useful, indispensable.
For example, the actor made reference to the massive power of social media.
Reference. A noun. The action of mentioning or alluding to something. Spew. A verb. Expel large quantities of something rapidly and forcibly.
For example, the dragon started to spew fire and slowly damaged the village.
Classify. Verb. Arrange a group of people or things in classes or categories according to shared qualities or characteristics.
For example, mountain peaks are classified according to their shape.
quiz time.
Number 1. We found A in the engine cooling system. A noun. A shortcoming, imperfection, or lack.
Letter A. Defect. Letter B. Invaluable. Letter C. Reference. Letter D. Spew. And letter E. Classify.
The correct answer is letter A. Defect. We found a defect in the engine cooling system.
Number 2. The new job will provide you with experience. An adjective. Extremely useful, indispensable.
Letter A. Defect. Letter B. Invaluable. Letter C. Reference. Letter D. Spew. And letter E. Classify.
The correct answer is letter B. Invaluable. The new job will provide you with invaluable experience.
Number 3. This card should be kept on file for a noun. The action of mentioning or alluding to something.
Letter A. Defect. Letter B. Invaluable. Letter C. Reference. Letter D. Spew. And letter E. Classify.
The correct answer is letter C. Reference. This card should be kept on file for reference.
Number 4. Biologists. Animals and plants into different groups. A verb. Arrange a group of people or things in classes or categories according to shared qualities or characteristics.
Letter A. Defect. Letter B. Invaluable. Letter C. Reference. Letter D. Spew. And letter E. Classify.
The correct answer is letter E. Classify. Biologists classify animals and plants into different groups.
Number 5. The drains. Millions of gallons of raw sewage into the river. A verb. Expel large quantities of something rapidly and forcibly.
Letter A. Defect. Letter B. Invaluable. Letter C. Reference. Letter D. Spew. And letter E. Classify.
The correct answer is letter D. Spew. The drains spew millions of gallons of raw sewage into the river.
Thank you for watching.
Don't forget to click like and subscribe.